Good afternoon. Welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. This is Logan Burgess. Today is January 10th, a WASDE report day. We saw some surprises in that report. Let's turn right over to the trading platform and see where we closed off the day. Corn for March delivery trading up 20 3/4 cents. Soybeans trading up 4 3/4. Wheat in Chicago down 15 1/4, and Kansas City wheat trading off 13. Logan, can you go through the report? What were the big expectations, and how did the market surprise us?
Yeah, let's take a look here at this slide. First column here shows what the trade was expecting coming into today. The middle column is what the USDA reported for 2014 13-14 ending stocks today, and then the right column here is the difference. Obviously, the big mover here was the corn number. As you can see, 23 million bushels lower than what the trade was expecting coming into this report. The big driver of that was yield, lowered by 1.6 bushels per acre today by the USDA. Keep in mind that coming into this report, a lot of traders were looking for actually a higher yield number from the USDA. So I think, when you talk about surprises out of this report, that's certainly one thing a lot of people are going to be talking about. If we take a look at the demand side a little bit, we saw feed and residual raised 100 million bushels. We saw ethanol usage raised 50 million bushels. So all those factors combined really combined to weigh on ending stocks or force the USDA to come out with a lower projection. 1.63 billion bushels, definitely on the low side of trade expectations, and as a result, we saw quite a strong reaction from the corn market.
Yeah, take a look at how we traded going into this report. If you remember, we had a 420 resist or support level, and we had touched on that a couple times really since the beginning of November. We ended up breaking through that a couple days ago, and we were trading down below that level. Now, of course, going into the report, we actually were making new lows on the day. We were trading down to about 406, but as soon as this market report came out, it surprised the market enough. We saw this market move about 20 cents higher like that. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact we saw some short coverings. We saw probably some stop orders hit on the way up. But the bottom line here is we traded up very sharply. We're now trading kind of the high side of that trend line resistance level. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of the selling or some of the buying carry over into next week. We did finish off near the highs of the day.
Looking at this move here, Cody, is this the kind of move that you think has legs? It was a pretty sizable downgrade by the USDA to ending stocks, 230 million bushels. But, looking at the chart and thinking about some of the production numbers that we got today, is this the kind of rally that you should let ride, or should it be used as a selling opportunity?
I think we need to look at these as selling opportunities. Look at these price points and resistance levels as opportunities to lock in some sales here for corn. I'm a little bit nervous here. When you look at the overall ending stocks, I mean, we still have 1.6 billion bushels of corn. That's an awful lot of corn. Now, we are like maybe a million bushels less than we thought we had, but we still have an awful lot of corn. That's going to weigh on the market. So if we do carry over, if we do see some short covering continue into next week, I think those are selling opportunities, opportunities for you to price in maybe some forward contracts in the cash market.
Yeah, kind of a similar day here for beans in terms of the reaction that we saw, but really not a lot to talk about in terms of changes to the balance sheet. If you take a look here at this slide once again, coming out, the number released today by the USDA was just 1 million bushels higher than what the trade was expecting. The movers within that report was yield raised 0.3 bushels per acre, but offsetting slightly higher production numbers were improvements to demand side numbers. We saw crush up 10 million bushels, exports up 20 million bushels. So a very quiet day for the soybean market in terms of the actual balance sheet, but I think there was some things to talk about when you look at the price action here that we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the chart here, because one thing to keep in mind is that we were actually trading higher here going into the report. We were up as much as 20 cents here throughout the trade day. As soon as the report came out, that was actually negative on price action. We saw all those gains that we had in the earlier part of the morning. We saw them evaporate. We're now back trading in the consolidation that we've been in for the last couple weeks. Before the report came out, it was an opportunity. I think we were up around that $13 level. That was an area that we broke through just a couple weeks ago, and that's an area that we talked about. When you break through these areas, these key support levels, oftentimes, and you have such a sharp movement down, oftentimes you do get opportunities where this bounces back and tests that resistance level. This morning was a perfect example of that. We tested it. The report came out. It was very negative. We ended up trading back in this consolidation. I think we're going to move lower here in the weeks to come.
Yeah, finally, let's take a look here. Wheat, really the only commodity, or really the only grain commodity that traded sharply negative in today's action, and really driving that was the ending stock numbers. Take a look here, as I said. 51 million bushels higher than what the trade was expecting. And if we look at kind of the balance sheet numbers, we didn't see any changes to production for wheat, but we did see feed usage backed off 60 million bushels. A little bit offsetting that was exports, which was raised 25 million bushels. But still, on net here, the ending stock number released by the USDA was quite a bit higher than what traders were expecting coming into today's report. One other thing that was weighing on the wheat market in today's action was higher global ending stocks by 1.5 million metric tons. Big contributors to that was production out of China and the Black Sea region. So, we were talking about this earlier in the week, Cody. We had a wheat market coming into this report that was sitting on some key long-term support, and we had expectations for a bullish report. We thought that area was going to hold. Today, the USDA comes out with a number quite a bit higher than what the trade's expecting. We proceed to just drop sharply through that area of support. This wheat market is really hurting right now, I think, based on these numbers that we saw today.
Yeah, definitely. Relative weakness throughout the grain complex.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line here is that the news that we saw today was just nothing positive. There's nothing positive to talk about in the wheat market.
Yeah.
It just continues to move lower. Do I think it's going to continue going straight down? I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we saw some continuation selling, but I can't imagine we're going to see a huge this spread between corn and wheat. I can't imagine we're going to see that really open up here. I think it's going to be hard for wheat to continue selling with corn rallying. So just keep that in mind. Don't get too scared here with wheat dropping. I wouldn't be surprised if it moves a little bit lower. But I think it's very overextended here on the amount of selling that we've seen the last couple months. I think we're bound for a snapback one of these days.
Yeah, if you look at the numbers that we got today, a lot of moving parts to this report. We had crop production numbers, we had U.S. and global ending stocks, we also had quarterly grain stocks. So there's a lot of information for traders to chew over here this weekend. I think it's going to be important to watch how the trade opens up Sunday night and Monday morning. If you have any questions about these reports or want to watch these markets for yourself on the Sunday night open, visit us over at grainhedge.com. You can get a free trial of our mobile trading app. It's available now for iPhone, iPad, Android, and tablet. Or as always, you can give us a call at the office. Our number is 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for joining us here on a Friday for the January USDA report. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.